Two babies born in the 80s, East Coast, yeah. One fire, one air, so you know the vibes is there. Met in 7th grade computer class. Since then, we continue to laugh. Crazy stories from teens till now. Some include caramel sundae and Takal. Sit back, relax, we will speak our truth. Just remember, it all started in our youth. She be the ram and I be the twins. Don't ever think we can't compete to win. Cause she a natural born leader and I be two-sided. So you know we gonna hop on this podcast and ride it. Come on.
Welcome back to the Fire and Air podcast. I'm Ram.
And I'm Twin. And we're back this week with the 10. This time, it's top 10 technologies from the 90s and 2000s that changed the game. You know, it's good to talk about technology from the 90s and 2000s. It's going to show just how far things have advanced. So let's get right into it. Okay, so one on my list, and this is in no particular order, I have the caller ID.
Oh, shit. That's good.
Yes. I remember getting caller ID in my house probably somewhere in like my mid-teens. So maybe sometime in like 97 or 98. And we thought we was the shit. Because the phone would ring and you would look at the caller ID and would instantly have the power and decision to either answer the call or let that bitch ring. Ooh, the power, the power, the power. Like that for a 15-year-old was priceless. I believe the first one we had was a Bell South caller ID.
Yeah.
And that one you would just plug into the back of the phone. And talking about the caller ID just brings back so many memories because with the phones back then, there were a lot of features that we used, like *67, when you would that would block your number from showing up.
Yep.
Then there was three-way calling, call waiting, *69, *69 was
Star
when
69 was the shit. That Star 69, that
Mhm.
was like pivotal for if you didn't have caller ID. Like
Yes,
that was your shit. That's how you
yeah.
found out.
Especially if somebody was playing around on your phone. Hold
Yeah.
on now, you not getting away with this. *69 your ass real quick.
Yes. Sounded
So
like Craig's mom.
so
And I Star 69 and I know it was her.
right. Just to give you guys a sense of the cost of these things from back in the day. So *69, depending on what phone company you had, ranged from 50 cents to $1.
Yes.
I could not find the cost of *67. Do you remember what the cost of *67 was? Star
I
six
was,
seven?
I always felt like Star 67 was
It
free.
was free.
But Star 69, I on my phone bill, I remember it being 75 cents.
75.
Yes. Yes.
That is funny. Okay, so caller ID stands for caller identification. And when I looked up caller ID, there was a lot of information on its beginnings. Back in 1968 in Greece, a guy named Theodore George Parasikobas began developing a system to automatically identify a telephone caller to the recipient. Fast forward to 1984, Bell South conducted the first market trial for caller ID, and the rest is history.
Caller ID, man. That was a
Yes.
throwback.
Yes, man.
And you had to have the right phone too, because not all phones had the caller ID
Right.
panel.
Right.
Uh, oh, I remember those days.
Yes.
That was a good one. Oh my
Thank
God.
you. Yes.
First of all, let me just say before I start with mine, I
Mm-hmm.
kind of struggled with it. Like there were some things that immediately stuck out for me. And of course, I feel
Mm.
like mine are gonna be like the most basic or common one.
No.
But I don't know. Like
We probably have some in common here because mines aren't too, you know what I mean, out of the
like
box.
when you get to my last one, you're gonna be like, bitch, okay.
Hey, this is what you think, okay? This is your opinion. So your opinion counts and matters too.
Well, thanks. Thanks. Okay. So my first one is it's huge. It was the internet. Like,
Okay, yes.
was that on your list?
I did have the internet on my list as well, but I think Ram is going to have that on her list, so I left it off.
And sure do. So you knew, you be knowing. So I can't remember if we were in middle school or if it was like my freshman year of high school when my
Hmm.
mom got a computer and hooked us up to the internet. And back in that day, internet was dial up. Like
Yes.
you had to unplug your motherfucking main phone line, like the phone line that people call you on,
Right.
and plug in the cord um from the modem or whatever it's called, the CPU,
Right.
into the fucking phone line. And that's how you got on the internet and you hear the fax machine.
Right. Right.
And then don't let nobody pick up the phone. Somebody pick up the phone and break that connection. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
But the internet was big because it just connected you to information and to people.
Right.
Like it was just something different. At that time, AOL was
Oh
mailing
my
us the fucking
God.
disc in like in the 90s, like I don't know, 1993 all the way into maybe 98.
Right.
Like they were killing it. AOL, you would get a new disc. At first it was like monthly and then it became like more frequent.
Right.
And it was free. Like this
Mm.
was how you were able to get online for free. So first of all, even that concept, that's how you know it was a big push
Yeah.
for people to get people to use the internet because they were giving this shit to us for free, which ultimately the internet is free now. Which no, it's really not if you don't
Right.
have service.
Right. Right.
Um, but all you needed at that time was a computer and a phone line.
Yes. A computer and a phone line. Yep. Yeah.
Um, the internet was huge because, again, we used to use dictionaries and
Yes.
encyclopedias in order to do our reports. Do you
Yo, I remember that 1,000% because we had a whole the A through Z, the motherfucking encyclopedia. Whenever we needed to
remember?
do some sort of book report or anything like that, go to the encyclopedia and look it up. That's how we got our information.
That's how we got our information. That's how we learned. But that, you know what's crazy when you think about it, twin?
Mm,
The fact that we had encyclopedias in our house was
yes.
a privilege.
Yeah,
Because first of all, them shits was
they were.
expensive. They were expensive as hell. And because they were expensive, whatever edition you had is whatever edition you fucking
Right,
had.
right.
But you knew that it was a privilege because when you went to other people's houses, they didn't have that shit. I don't say it like I'm looking down on it. I
Right.
say it like our parents did right
Yeah.
by us by
Yeah.
having
They
that
really
type of content in the house. What's funny to me is the fact that it was paper. Like, if you think about our world today, information is updated all the time.
It is.
Shit changes all the time. So whatever information we had in our encyclopedias at that time, that's
Right.
what
Right. Exactly. Right. Whatever edition you had, it could have been the 1991 edition. You was reading that edition for a good 5, 6 years straight.
yes,
And that was fine. And
it was
that was
fine. It was accurate and it was valid. Nobody questioned that shit. And the encyclopedias just had like random
it
information.
did.
Like
It
you
did.
just turn to the page of M
Right.
and there's the name of a spider with the letter M, like, or
Right.
the name of a flower with the letter M. It was just
Yes.
random information,
It was.
which is Google today.
Yes. I like how you made that connection. I didn't even think about the encyclopedia.
It's crazy.
Yes.
Even like the ability to look up phone numbers online versus not having the
Mm,
phone book, the yellow pages.
yes.
They don't even deliver the phone book to you anymore. Can you
No.
imagine what we used to do
Yo.
to look for somebody's main phone number?
Right. Right. And that phone book would have everything, all the restaurants, the cleaners, the movie theater number, everything was in that damn phone book, as well as John Smith and Betty Sampson, like everybody, everything and everybody.
And there was a million John Smiths.
There was. There was.
But the internet, it was a game changer. We're on the internet right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was just a good time.
No, that's definitely yes. That's a good one for sure.
Yes. All right. What's next on your list?
Okay. So the next one on my list is Game Boy.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. So I don't believe I had my own Game Boy, but my second oldest brother, he did. And when I tell you I played that Game Boy like it was mine when it was free, I know my brother was probably sick of me. Tetris was my absolute favorite. Like I loved Tetris. Firstly, video games in my house was like a thing. I remember my brothers first had Atari, and with Atari, my dad and my oldest brother would play Astro Warriors. Like it was a real competition. It was like serious business between them two. Then came Nintendo, then we had Sega Genesis, then PlayStation, then Xbox. And then like the evolution of just those game consoles was crazy. But let's talk about Game Boy. So what made Game Boy special was that it was a handheld console. And Nintendo launched it in 1989 to the Japanese market, and then North America and Europe came later that year. It became a cultural icon in the 90s. I didn't even know Game Boy had competitors. They were competing with Sega Game Gear, Atari Lynx, and NEC Turbo. I'm sorry, NEC Turbo Express. But Game Boy outsold them all. Game Boy and Game Boy Color have sold an estimated 118.69 million units. So
Mm.
that's crazy.
Game Boy was, I never had it. It was always a luxury to me. Like when somebody had it and I got to play it, I was always amped.
Right.
And Tetris, yes, that was the
Yo.
ultimate game to play on Game Boy. It was just
Right.
perfectly fit in your hand, so
Yes.
you can move the pieces.
Yes.
But it's so funny because Nintendo was on my list.
It was?
It is. So yeah. we're here. It was
Yes.
the name Nintendo, I feel like changed the game
Yeah.
of video games. Like I know Atari was the, origination, the original. Sega Genesis was cool, but it was different.
Mm-hmm.
But Nintendo was mainstream. It was the best of the best. The
Yeah.
Super Mario
Yeah.
Brothers franchise, that
Yeah.
franchise, like the amount of shit that came from Super Mario Brothers, and it wasn't just it was everything. It was the cartoons, it was
Right.
Princess having her own shit, Toad, like
Yeah.
every Bowser, there were so many spin-offs from Super Mario Brothers.
Yes. Yes.
Um, Donkey Kong, remember Frogger?
Yes.
Like,
Super Mario Go-Kart.
yeah, Super Mario Go-Kart, and we love some fucking racing games. So that was just the icing on top.
Yes.
Fucking Duck Hunt, Duck
Oh my.
Hunt.
Yeah. Yo.
If y'all don't know about Duck Hunt, it was this game where you would shoot and you were hunting ducks.
Right.
And there was a fucking dog, and when you shot a duck and you killed it, he was supposed to go get the fucking duck and just retrieve it. But if you missed, this nigga would laugh at your ass.
Right.
But the what's fun about this game is they gave you an actual like plastic gun,
Yo. Yo.
and ideally, you should be
Right.
some distance away from the TV screen so
Yo.
that you're aiming. But when niggas got desperate,
Yes. Right up close and personal, bitch. Right up on the screen.
when niggas was desperate, it was gun to screen.
Hell
It
yeah.
was touching. Okay,
Yo. Yo.
that shit
Yes.
was hilarious. Um, but like that game was like a major part of my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And blowing those cartridges with the
Yes.
games to work. They
Yes.
start fucking glitching.
Yo.
But you called it. Them niggas used to glitch.
They did.
Let it be collected dust for a minute. You gotta blow that out.
Right.
But you called it when you talked about the evolution because I feel like Nintendo, it was the gateway to PlayStation and Xbox. Like there
Yeah.
would be no PlayStation and Xbox
Right.
without Nintendo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
Nintendo is one of those consoles that just, yeah, like nothing really touches it. Like it's just
mm-mm.
kind of in a league of its own, really.
Yep,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yes. Yes. Good. We have something in common.
We got something in
Right.
common.
Okay, so the next one on my list is GPS.
Oh my gosh. Some, some really, really good ones.
Yes, because Lord knows, I don't know how we made it to the
Yeah.
places we'd never been before without GPS. Because back in the day, you would have to call the place or the company you were going to and take down directions. Or sometimes people would buy maps to use on like long road trips. And then it kind of advanced a little bit with the help of MapQuest. MapQuest?
Yes.
Yo,
Which
Map.
again was a privilege. I'm
Right.
sorry. Was a privilege.
It was. MapQuest was a privilege, but MapQuest would really, really have you on a quest. Like sometimes lost, sometimes like extra, like on a 3 hour tour type of thing. And then came good old GPS for the car, boy. Yes,
Mhm.
finally get me to my destination without me being lost for 6 hours. Thank you, God. So, GPS, it stands for Global Positioning System, originally known as Navstar GPS. It's a
Mhm.
satellite-based radio navigation system owned by the U.S. government and operated by the U.S. Space Force. It's one of the global navigation satellite systems that provide geolocation and time information to a GPS receiver anywhere near or on Earth. Um, the history of GPS was pretty extensive. Um, it was a project started by the U.S. Government of Defense in 1973. By 83, GPS was available for the public, and in 1990, Mazda introduced GPS navigation. It was built into the actual car. And then fast forward to today, every cell phone has GPS. Thank the Lord.
Yes, because if we could just go back to first for a second MapQuest.
Yeah,
Like, first of all, you had to have access to a computer.
right.
Not only a computer, you also had to have access to a printer
Yeah,
with paper and ink. Okay.
right.
And then you print that shit out.
Right.
And then I don't even know how niggas was doing it when they was driving by themselves,
I don't.
right? If you had somebody in the passenger seat, they can read it for you. But if you were driving, like what?
Right.
I mean, of course
Mm.
you read it first. You read it through first, but still, like,
Yes.
remember the shit would be like drive 150 miles. How do I know?
Right. Yes.
Um, and then when the GPS systems came out, like I remember Garmin coming out, but again, this was before they really had it in every car. So
Right.
you still had to buy like a
Yes.
separate GPS system and then have that shit
Yup.
mounted in your car or just have it with you.
I had quite a
Um,
few I had quite a few of those bad boys, let me tell you.
you did?
Yes. I had like two or three of those.
Oh my gosh. And I thank God for the for it being in the phones now
Yeah.
because
Right.
like there's places in my city I can't go to places in my city without the
Right.
fucking GPS. Like
E-
what how am I
Exactly.
getting home without it or getting there? Like I don't understand how people were doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so whack before GPS because again, you had to call up the place, literally sit down, have them tell you the directions, and you just writing it out as they speak. And you literally had to follow those directions to a T. To a T.
And you know what I just thought of? Remember back in the day when you were like a kid and your parents would just pull over and roll down the window and ask somebody,
Yeah,
or somebody would do it to you?
right.
You know
Right.
where such and such a yeah, just go
Right. Yes.
the
Yes.
fuck
Right. How did we
time.
survive? How do
Interesting times. That
how do we survive?
was an amazing invention.
Yes.
Okay. My next one is DVDs.
I had that too.
You do?
Yep.
Yeah. DVDs were the improvement from VHS.
Mm-hmm.
Like with DVDs, you didn't have to rewind, you could just skip back.
Yeah.
It was just that power of skipping to wherever you wanted to in the movie.
Right.
Like that ability was just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, being able to go to Blockbuster and pick out a movie,
Right.
I love that. And then when Netflix used to mail the DVDs to you, do you remember that shit? That was
Yes.
early Netflix days.
Yes. Yes.
Um, that was awesome. And then did you have Redbox up there?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, Redbox was the shit as well. But I miss DVDs because that's when you owned the movies.
Right.
Keyword owned.
Mm-hmm.
Now with streaming, like You gotta pay for movies that are 20 years old, movies
I
that you didn't
know.
see 10 times already, and it doesn't make sense. And I think that's what I miss most. Like it was always a flex when you went into somebody's house and they had a huge DVD collection.
Yeah,
That was like, okay,
right. No, I agree. And it's funny because, my next one, it was CDs slash DVDs. I just included it as one, but it's
yeah.
funny that you mentioned Blockbuster because I also mentioned Blockbuster that remember when renting a tape from Blockbuster and popping it in and finding out that the last person didn't rewind that shit? You'll be mad as
Yes.
you'll be
Yeah,
mad
but that
as
also
hell.
means that the fucking Blockbuster worker didn't do their job either. Because I worked there, nigga. You supposed to fucking rewind it.
Yo, I forgot you did work at Blockbuster.
Yes. But you know what's funny? You would think that there was like some major rewind machines. It
What?
was like, it was not. It was like there were two, there were like two compartments, and
Yo,
enough for
right.
one tape each. That's it. And
Yo,
so, yeah.
I'm crying right now. That is funny. Um, let's see. So with the DVDs, it was developed back in 95 and then released in Japan in 96. And I said DVDs changed the game because, like you said, coming from VHS and then going to DVDs, like, my God, what a difference. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, and with the DVDs, everything was much faster. It was compact. It was easy to store. So I looked up some of the best-selling DVDs of all time. A-
Ooh.
And a few were number one was Finding Nemo.
I mean, it was a good movie.
And that sold like 38 plus million. And then the next two was, or the next few were Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, that sold 16.5 million. And then Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, that sold 16.6 million. And so, yeah, DVDs, they were just, more compact and easier to use. On the CD side, um, I'm a huge fan of music, right? So when CDs came out, to me, it was just a game changer. So just to kind of break it down to you about like CDs, like and the cost. So like back in 95, the cost for, the case, the jewel case, that was
Hmm.
30 cents.
Okay.
The actual CD was 10 to 15 cents.
Okay.
So the retail price of the actual CD was $16.98. On an average, the store received 35% of the retail price. The record company received 27%, the artist 16%, the manufacturer 13%, and the distributor 9%. Now, if you think about how the game has changed for artists from then till now, it's crazy because artists back then were making millions of dollars off of
Yeah.
hard copy sales. You fast forward to now, I don't know if you've seen, but Snoop has been very vocal about the streaming era. And he
Yeah.
says for a billion streams, he's only getting $45,000 from Spotify. That is insane, yo.
It's crazy.
Insane.
It's crazy. And it's so funny that you bring this up because I just saw a reel,
Mm-hmm.
an IG reel from Matt Damon talking about why they don't make movies like they used to. Like they put the
Mm.
effort in, the writing. They don't make movies like that because it's almost impossible to make your money back after the
Wow.
movie. When DVDs were out, movie makers knew that even if they didn't like make a profit in the theaters, that they
Mm-hmm.
would when they released to DVD because that's a whole new audience of people
Right.
who are gonna buy it, who maybe
Mm,
just didn't make it to the theater. And so he was like, that's why the movie game's just not the same anymore.
that's crazy.
Hmm.
Wow. You know, the only downside I could think of for the CDs and the DVDs, it may not be
What?
the only one, but the one that stuck out most to me in my head, especially more so for the CDs, is that when it got scratched,
Oh my
oh my,
gosh.
yeah,
Yeah.
when the CD got scratched, you know how we try to take it out and blow fog on it and wipe it on our pant and put it back in the CD player. Sometimes it will work, but if it was scratched to a certain degree, that CD is
Yeah.
gone, baby.
Oh my gosh. And sometimes, like back in that day, we were burning a lot of
Yeah,
CDs. So you had a lot of fucking music that
right,
you were never getting back again because it was
right.
like a mixtape, it was a bootleg, whatever that was.
Yes,
You lost so much good music
right,
because that shit was scratched and you
right.
can't buy it from the motherfucking store. It was just, it was horrible. Like I
That's
remember
true.
my mom always complaining about that, like wishing she could go back to
Yeah,
tapes because she had mad tapes. The
right,
thing with tapes is if that little fucking film, if it wasn't cut, oh
right,
baby, you can wind that back up.
right.
Get you a pen, you can wind that tape right on back up and we can get that to work.
You
But a
could.
scratch CD is a wrap.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
But you know the other downside to DVDs and CDs
Mm,
is the inability to record. Yes,
mm,
you can burn stuff, but you can burn it off of a computer.
right.
Tapes allowed us to record stuff from the radio, which at
Mm,
this time, radio was popping. That's how we
yeah,
learned mad songs.
right,
We learned mad songs because we would record it off the radio and then play it and rewind it over and over again just to learn the words.
right.
But and then my sister, do you remember? My sister loved music videos.
Yeah.
She loved music videos. She had every fucking music video, every fire one.
Right.
And we would just watch that shit, but she would record it from
Mm,
MTV. I don't even know if
right.
we had BET at that time because we lived in that white suburban area. So I don't think we had like Music Box, but we had MTV.
Mm-hmm.
And she would just record mad fire videos and we would just watch some shits over and over again.
Yes.
And you can't do that with
Right.
CDs and DVDs.
True. Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. I agree. The especially with taking the tape and Hot 97 being on and somebody
Yes.
come through with a freestyle.
Oh
What?
my gosh.
Recorded all of that shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let me actually go into this next one because it's kind of in the same genre,
Okay.
which is the iPod. Yeah. When
Okay.
the iPod came out for me, this was a game changer because this is how I was able to break up with CDs,
Mm.
specifically in the car.
Okay.
Because, so I think we talked about this, but back in the day, Twins' mom had a car that had a six CD changer in
Mm-hmm.
it. And it was rare, like people didn't have that. You had
Right.
one CD or you had a tape player.
Right. Right.
But she had the six CD player, whatever.
Yes.
Um, But if you didn't have a six CD player in your
Mm-hmm.
car, then you had one and you had that big ass
Yeah.
fucking binder of fucking CDs that
Right.
you would have to
Y-
open, flip through before you went anywhere,
Right.
or you try to do it real quick at a red light, which is
Yeah.
not long enough. Okay, it's not long enough. It's too much.
Right.
or
Right.
or if you had like a select few, you had the visor one, the
Right.
visor CD holder.
Yes. Yes. Yo.
But it was
Yo.
a lot, right? It was a lot. And
Right.
then don't let the CD be scratched.
Right.
And so for me, when the iPod came out, and I had the mini, I ain't had that big one. I had the mini because it was expensive at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it was a wrap. It was a
Wow.
wrap. And I started off, I started buying through their little Apple Store, iTunes,
Right.
but I was doing it the legal way. I was at first, okay? But that shit adds up. Some songs 99 cents or $1.99
Mm.
per song. Nah, that shit started adding up. So I
Right.
found out about LimeWire. Oh
Yeah.
my God. I think it was Napster first,
Yeah, Napster.
and then LimeWire. Whoa, it
Wow.
was a wrap.
Yeah.
I had mad music. I had mad music on that iPod.
Yeah.
And this was around the time when Lil Wayne was really popping, like the lollipop time. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
remember when he dropped like 100 songs in one summer?
Yes.
I had all them songs.
Yeah.
I had all them songs. This is when Weezy was at his peak.
That is
Okay,
hilarious.
my iPod playlist was so fire, but I think that's why I love streaming music now because it just gives me that quick access to music
Mm-hmm.
that no other form of music can give, or I don't know,
Right.
channel can give me. Like I don't listen to the radio at all, ever.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, the radio's trash down here.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, I feel like even if I was up there, I would still be streaming my music. Yeah, I just pay my little $10 a month and I get all the music I want, which is amazingly convenient. But the only thing about that is like as soon as you stop paying, your
Mm-hmm.
access is limited because now you gotta stream with commercials and shit, which in the middle of a song or like it's
Mm-hmm. Right.
nah. But I don't know. iPods for me was a game changer because that really just shifted me from CDs to streaming.
Mm. I get it.
Mhm.
Um, for me, something about, and I know people are probably laughing, but I still like I love my CDs, yo. It's something about like it's specifically when I'm driving, yo. I have to have my collect like the binder, like you said. I still got one of those big ass fucking
Yes.
binders, yo. I have to listen to my CDs as I'm driving. It's just something that I don't want to like give up. I don't, it'll probably be 20 years from now and I'm still talking about, yo, pass me that pass me that Jada Kiss CD, yo.
Yeah,
I
I'm not
was
gonna lie though. Go ahead.
yo, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm not gonna lie though. The last time I was there and you was playing the Bounty Killer CD, like that shit brought me back. Like I went back and downloaded mad of his songs on my
Good thing.
on my title playlist. But you know what I'm gonna do? Because I got mad CDs in my closet in a box.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna post them out. And I'm gonna just pop
Yeah.
them in my car and see what happens.
Girl, it's gonna transport you, man. I don't know. For me, it's just I don't know if it's like more of like the nostalgia of it, but it's specifically when I'm driving, it just
Yeah.
it's like it sets the tone, it sets the mood for me, and I just have to I don't know if it's because I honestly did try to um play, music on my phone and link it to my car. For
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason, I can't figure it out. And it's like it's not even that difficult, but it says it's paired, but it never pairs. And even if it did pair, I don't think I would still listen to music
Mm,
like that in the car. I just have to have CDs. I love it. I
I'm
don't
not
know.
mad.
That's just my thing.
To each his own, to
Yeah.
each his own.
Okay.
What's
So
next?
next on my list is the Walkman.
Oh yes.
So I absolutely loved my Walkman. It was the best thing. It was almost like a little escape device, like it transported me to another world, so to speak. I love music. I'm a big fan of music. Like music in my household was a huge thing. I remember when I was really young, my parents had, you remember those home stereo systems? And for this one, you had to press, like
Yes.
it had the glass front, and you kind of had to press it like how you
Yes.
would do like a medicine cabinet.
Yes. Yes. And then it would
Yeah.
pop open.
Yes.
Yes. And again, privilege.
Right. Right. I remember like a really like a lot of happy times surrounding that stereo. But
Yeah.
the Walkman, it was genius because it was compact, it was portable, it was a simple device. You could connect the headphones, pop in a tape, and just jam out. The Walkman is a brand of portable audio players manufactured and marketed by the Japanese Sony company since 1979. Within a decade of launch, Sony held 50% market share in the US and 46% in Japan. Now, I don't know if you remember this, but I had borrowed your mom's tape. It was Total's first album. Their first album was called Total. It came out in 96. I loved that album so much. I remember giving you back the tape and I went and I bought my own.
Uh-huh.
Yo, I played that tape on my Walkman until that shit popped, yo. Like I was
Yeah,
so in love with that album. It was crazy.
that's funny. I do not remember that. But my mom had mad tapes, like
She did.
for no reason.
She did.
But that was a good one because I feel like Walkman was the first, it was the first portable music, the first way that you could, carry
Right.
your music wherever you go.
Right.
But back to the home stereo, like those home stereos were so,
They would
I
have
don't know how to
bombed.
explain it. Yeah,
Right.
because it was big and it was like
Right.
multi-layered.
Yeah.
Like you had the tapes
Mm-hmm.
as you got to the older, like newer
Right.
um times, and they had the CD too. But my mom had the one with the record on top.
Yes, we had that one too. That's the
Oh
one I
my gosh, like
yeah. Yeah.
her playing records back in the day, like
Hmm.
that's my childhood. Like it
Yeah.
was the best. The bass coming from
Yeah.
the sound from that stereo,
Right.
and you had to like set the record, the needle just right, or scratch that shit.
Right. Yes, that is funny that we both have that like as a childhood memory. Yes.
Yeah, it's like where are all the vinyl players?
I don't know. And vinyls now coming, they've made a comeback. Everybody is putting out their music, on vinyls now again.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
remember back in the day going to the vinyl store in Brooklyn. Oh my gosh, they would have the best reggae and dance hall records. Like
Mm,
just the best, man.
I'm sure they was jamming in that motherfucker
Oh
too.
my gosh, where the bass be vibrating through your body.
Right.
Good times, man.
Yes, definitely.
So I'm on my last one, and this is the
Okay.
one I said you're gonna be like, what? This don't even really apply,
Okay.
but just when I thought about stuff that changed the game, or I don't know, I was nostalgic thinking about this shit. And you know what I thought about? Heights. Nobody flies kites anymore. I know that's not
Kites.
technology.
Wow. Yeah.
Nobody flies kites. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that was such a major part of my childhood, and it wasn't uncommon. Like,
Yeah.
people
Right.
were always in the park or on the beach flying kites, and it was a skill. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
you had to know how to fly a kite, and then picking your type of kite that was like it showed your personality and what
Right.
you represent. It was just a fun, natural, and innocent activity that I feel like is lost in today's society.
No, that's true. That's true. I feel like it's funny that you say that because my ex was from Guyana and like I remember him like making like a few kites.
Yeah.
Like motherfuckers in the West Indies, I think in Guyana they have like a specific, I don't know if it was a specific holiday or day that they definitely all went to the beach and flew kites. But yes, kites, I don't know, like I guess you really don't see a lot of people doing that anymore, unless like maybe you're in like the West Indies, you know what I mean?
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. It was crazy.
Mm.
This movie about this little boy who was a kite flyer. Yeah, what country was he in? It was so good. Anyway, that was random and that had nothing to do with this list, but that's what I thought of, and
Uh-huh.
it just made me miss flying kites and watching people fly kites. Like
Yeah.
a lost art.
Yeah. That's definitely a cool. I feel like it'll still be cool to this day if people still
Oh
did
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, what else is on your list?
That was it. That was the Walkman was the last one on my list, and then the runner up was the internet. But you said that, so yes, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, let us know. Did we miss any technologies that you guys thought of from the 90s or 2000s? Let us know in the comment. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time,
Peace out, guys.
peace.